Hello, welcome back to another episode of the news on The Voice of Football. If you're new around here, subscribe. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button because more subscribers means more money. I don't make no money, but it doesn't matter. I soon will be. So welcome back to another episode of the news, the football news to be precise. And if you want the #1 trending, growing YouTube channel on the internet, you found him. He's right here. So let's have a look at some of the biggest news stories coming out of the world of football. The transfer deadline has shut in the UK. The Premier League is back this weekend. Sane might be out with a career-threatening injury, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic slates the MLS. So we start off today, ladies and gentlemen, with the biggest news story. That is the transfer deadline day. It is finally closed. And the transfer deadline was quite surprising this year, you know. I felt that the transfer deadline day itself lived up to a lot of promise. There were some massive names being linked with, like Coutinho, Dybala, you know. I was just excited to see what would happen. However, it didn't quite work out the way I thought it would, but it's still entertaining as it should be. We started off with some of the biggest surprises in the transfer window. We saw Iwobi move to Everton. What the actual... Well done, Arsenal. David Luiz had joined Arsenal from Chelsea. Again, another surprise. Never thought Luiz would be joining Arsenal this window, but it happened. Andy Carroll made a return back to Newcastle. Luckily for them, they did as a pay-as-you-play deal. I've never heard of one of those. It's an unprecedented contract, but I think Newcastle have done themselves a favour here because Andy Carroll is injury prone as... But it wasn't just surprises it threw up in this transfer window. They also had some big names like Nicolas Pepe moving to Arsenal. We had Maguire moving to Manchester United. We had Lo Celso and Ndombele going to Spurs. And Lukaku finally left Manchester United to go to Inter. Although I just feel a little sense of disappointment that we didn't get to see Coutinho and Dybala turn up in the Premier League. You know, a bit frustrated. Although Zaha not being allowed to leave Crystal Palace when he clearly wanted to was very entertaining for ourselves. You know, I feel sorry for Zaha. I think Crystal Palace should have sold him for 70 million. They had an offer for him. You know, you'd think they would let him go. Obviously not. Moving on, we are back with the Premier League. Oh, I cannot wait for the return of the Premier League, and it starts tonight with Liverpool versus Norwich. But the biggest game of the weekend has to be Manchester United versus Chelsea. That's going to be a tough game. Frank Lampard's first game. Thank freaking God, the Premier League is back and football is back in general. And our next news story is it's a depressing one. You know, Leroy Sane is out for up to 7 months. Now, we all saw Leroy Sane get injured in the game against Liverpool in the Community Shield, Charity Shield, whatever it's called now. It's only revealed in the last day or two that he's actually suffered a torn ACL, and we all know that must hurt like a little bitch, you know. However, this is literally just the worst news for someone like Sane, who is trying to break into the first team. You know, he's still young. He's still trying to break into and become a great player. And this was just not what he needed at this time in his career. Poor Sane. So this brings us on to the last news story today, because there's not much news going on in the world of football. Zlatan Ibrahimovic slates the MLS system. So guys, if you haven't seen the interview that Zlatan Ibrahimovic has done recently, just take a listen to this.
Different system in the US. I don't know if you're familiar with these guys here. When they talk about the playoff, you just need to make the playoff, win the playoff, and that's it. So it doesn't matter if you lose or win.
But is that something that you try to talk to the younger players to have that mentality that you have?
But how can you learn mentality if you just need to reach the playoffs?
So that's the problem then. The format is probably the...
I think the system is shit. But that's the way it is. Because you talk about mentality. For me, mentality is every day.
Okay.
Training, the way you train is the way you play game. The results in every game is important. But here you come seven plays, you make the playoff, you win. So how do you create that mentality to be on your toes 24 hours? It's very difficult.
And you know what? You can't fault him. I think the MLS system is shit. You know, they seem to be only wanting to play to get in the playoffs. And then obviously when they were getting the playoffs, there's everything to play for. But the players that he's playing with are just trying to aim for the players. What you should be doing in a league system, in my opinion, is trying to win the league. You know, so I do agree with Zlatan. Let me know in the comment section down below whether you agree with him or not. Guys, that's pretty much all the news we've got for you today. If you did like the episode, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. But if you're already subscribed and you've watched it this far, then thank you. You know, guys, I do appreciate you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.